So why is it that some people make change so easily and effortlessly, while others seem to struggle and stay trapped and really suffocated in the same patterns over and over and over again? And how can we make change and growth much more easy to achieve and much more smooth and fun in the process? Well, the simplest and easiest way to do that is to obviously identify and address one of the biggest blockages and one of the biggest stumbling blocks that most people face, and that I'm sure all of us have faced at some point in our lives. And really, if we want to identify it, we can identify it as primarily rigidity, blockage, and fixation on the physical and psychological levels. And we can look at that in another light and see that it's really a psychological sense of losing our sense of mystery, losing our sense of wonder and awe and excitement and just flat out existential joy for living. Because we look at children, we look at many other organisms on the planet, they don't often face these issues. What happens is, because we're adults, because we're so quote advanced, because we're so mature, and because we're humans, we're at the top of the species, and we've constructed this hierarchical view of the world, we think we have everything figured out. We know what that means, we know what that means. We have our interpretations, we have our symbolic meanings that we've attached to everything, we have our stories, and we really invest in them and invest in protecting them and defending them all the time. Thus, we stay stuck. Thus, we feel blocked, we feel rigid, we feel stagnant and fixated on the mental, emotional, spiritual level, as well as obviously reflected on the physical level, which doesn't really take much explanation. It just takes about 2 seconds of observation in our modern world to see how just distinctly true those points are. And look at people and just say, okay, well, try to do a back bend, try to touch your toes. People, can't do it, Or say, try this new thing, learn this new thing, let's go here, let's do there. People automatically, can't do that. Same principle at play here. So to take it a little more deeply and look at it in a bit more of a clear way, we can understand that when it comes to making change, when it comes to upgrading a habit or starting a new thing or eliminating a bad thing, what happens is we become so fixated and obsessed with what's wrong or what is in the past or what we did that didn't work, and we did this and it failed, and this didn't work and that didn't work, and this person screwed us and that person screwed us, we're mad at this person, we blame this person, we're ashamed of this, we're guilty of that. We're really fixated on all of these sorts of things that we really leave no room or opportunity for growth and expansion. In other words, we really lack neuroplasticity because we are fixated and we are stuck. And that, again, that metaphor is literally physical and psychological and emotional. And taking it further, we can really identify and illustrate this pattern or this virus or this parasite in our psyche when our ability to justify, explain, and defend is greater than our ability to be open and receptive and to actually listen. Now, there's a good story, a sort of colloquial Chinese or Zen parable story that can illustrate this principle, because it's nothing new. Humans have been facing this issue for quite a long time. And basically what happens is there's this middle-aged man who's been studying and he's on a spiritual path for most of his life. But he comes across this Zen master. He goes and visits this Zen master in his temple. And the Zen master is all the while very quiet and peaceful and calm, just listening to this guy go on and on and on and on and on about all the things he studied, all the things that he's done, all the teachers that he's studied under, all the gurus, all the systems, all the methods, all the yogas, all the breathing exercises, all the visualizations, all the temples, all the mountains, everything all over the world. He's just going on and on and on and telling this Zen master all of this crap. Or in our understanding, he's really giving him all of his story and all of his justification, what didn't work in the past, and all of these sorts of things. And then these two men are sitting down having tea. Zen master is pouring this guy some tea, and the guy's just still talking. He's not paying attention. And all of a sudden, he looks back and he's shocked and he says, "Oh my God, stop filling my cup. My cup is full," because the Zen master is just pouring it, and the tea is all overflowing and it's going all over the floor. The guy's freaking out. He's like, oh, what are you doing? Why would you do that? Can't you see that my cup is full? And the Zen master says, exactly, your cup is full. So really, I can't give you anything else. And at that point, that person had an experience of satori, or realization, or enlightenment, where he realized that he's just dragging all this crap along with him, that it's really clogging and congesting him up and really keeping him stuck all the way back there. And furthermore, he's disrespecting the Zen master, disrespecting the master's time and energy and attention and experience and wisdom and knowledge by not being open, not being receptive. So oftentimes we may go see people who maybe can't help us. We go see people that we want to help us or offer us some wisdom or knowledge. Or maybe we watch videos on the internet, maybe we listen to podcasts or read articles or read books. And all the while, all we're thinking about is, oh, it's this, or oh, it's that, or oh, that's my story, and this is my story, and this is my defense, and that defense, my justification. Really, we're not being open. We're not being receptive. We have no emptiness. We have no space for that new information to fill because we're so addicted and fixated to this other thing. Which if those words sound strong, addiction, fixation, stagnation, blockage, rigidity, just look at what happens when a person is asked to set that thing aside for a while. It basically engages a defensive survival mechanism from the psyche and from the body, which we should ask ourselves, is that really the person that is getting defensive, or is it that thing? Is that thing maybe actually a parasite or some sort of virus in the psyche? And are there parallels between the behavior of parasites and viruses and the behavior of certain ideas and beliefs in the mind? But again, that's a topic for a different video, something you can think about on your own. So getting back to the point, what happens is we fixate and obsess over the past or what's not wanted, that we ignore and malnourish the actual thing that we want. And there's a really easy way to understand that, and that I'm sure we've all driven a car. And basically when you're driving a car, you look to where you want to go. And you notice if you are in a terrible habit, which obviously no one here would ever do, which is you look down at your phone, what happens? Oh crap, gotta go back to center. Because your eyes go over here, so then what happens? Your body follows your eyes. Or maybe there's a wreck or some obstacle on the side of the road and you're looking at it as you're driving, what happens? You start to go over towards it. It's because your body follows your eyes, your hands follow your eyes. In another situation, if your car starts to spin out or you start to lose control, you don't look where you don't want to go, you look where you want to go, even if you have to look out the side of the car, because that's where your hands are naturally going to follow. Likewise, processes in the mind work the same way. Our reticular activating system works the same way. Various survival functions and mechanisms in the brain work the same way. Where if we so fixate on where we don't want to go, that's where our body is going to follow. That's where our hands are going to take us. And if we have no space for new things, then obviously it's very unlikely that we're actually going to be able to get them. So what this can allow us to arrive at as an understanding is a place of empowerment and a place of understanding that, yeah, that is my interpretation. That is my story. That is not really what happened. That's not really reality. That's just what's going on up here. It's not really what's going on out here. And people can write that off as kind of a colloquial, like, well, duh, it's not, obviously the symbol isn't the thing. But that's not really the understanding. The understanding is more in the physical body and more a felt experience and more of an aha moment, more of like a creative insight where all of a sudden we have a vision and a feeling and it hits us and all of a sudden we see things in a different way and we get the thing that is actually behind the words, which is really the point. So we get to this place of empowerment. We understand that maybe I can tell a new story. Maybe I can notice myself wanting to go into this pattern but just not do it. Or maybe I can learn to see things a little bit differently. Maybe learn to be a little more optimistic. Maybe learn to reframe things, which is a really powerful tool of reframing. Meaning we're giving interpretation to things, we are giving meaning to things. Thereby we can say, well, what kind of interpretation do I want to put on this? What kind of meaning do I want to put on this? What kind of story do I want to tell? Because oftentimes we're telling the story unconsciously and we're just reacting to all of the stuff that we're programmed with, all the stuff in the moment. We're really not present, really not centered, we really have no place to come from. So by starting to tell a new story, that can infer us really to a place of being centered. Because in order to tell a different story, we have to figure out where we are, we have to figure out where we've been, and where we're going. Literally, boom, we're in the middle because we see, oh wait, we were there, and then, oh wait, we're going to be here, perhaps. Okay, now we're here. Oh, I'm centered again. Oh, maybe I can start to apply these things that I've just been talking about and understand and realize the biggest blockages and address them here now in the moment based on all the things that we've just talked about. Which again can lead up to making change much easier and much more effective. And also lead us back to more of that childlike state of consciousness where we realize we don't have everything figured out. We realize we're not in control of everything. We realize that there is mystery and magic and lore and a real sense of aliveness and spontaneity and excitement and joy within everyday experience, within every moment. Even if we're just driving, sitting in traffic, there is the seed of the infinite or the seed of a mystical experience or the seed of excitement or joy in that present moment, whether we choose to focus on it or not. That's really up to us. You know, we could be sitting in traffic and it could really suck. We could be, oh, I'm going to be late, blah, blah, blah. But maybe at the same time, we just look up and there's a cloud in the sky, or there's the sunbeam coming through the cloud, and all of a sudden it gives us like this, all of a sudden insight where we feel better, we feel different, we go on a whole new train of thought and maybe see things differently. Or maybe we look over at the side of the road, see a car we really like, we look over the side of the road, see some wildflowers, something of that nature, or just an example of a metaphor or a process or principle which is really at play in any given moment. Whether or not we choose to focus on it is, again, up to us. So hopefully that has all been very helpful and you've enjoyed these pretty peony flowers in the video. And thanks for watching, and I will talk to you soon.